record, please. Beautiful. Right. There we go. So, brilliant. Someone clearly had a bit of a lie in this morning. Technical issues or whatever it is. Must have been the bots. Anyway, you're listening to Ammar and
Jalf,
live on our weekly radio show right here on SpiceFM.
Each week we'll bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections, or AB Connections as it's now known, aims to connect, support and promote the Asian and wider communities.
We'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops. Whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help, yeah, we can. And we do. So delighted to be here. Apologies, slightly later than anticipated. We've got a brilliant show for you lined up with our special guests from Dame Allan's. Dame Allan's in the heart of the SpiceFM community. And obviously we get SpiceFM globally on DAB, but we're going to hear from Amy Patterson from Dame Allan's and Rachel Hardwick from Tiny Lives about charity, Dame Allan's, and the fact that they have raised some money for charity. You're probably wondering, well, people raise money for charity all of the time. Well, this particular charity has a special place in my heart and has helped lots of premature babies over the years and their parents. And when our son was born, Jeff, can you remember? When
I remember it was around about Christmas time. God, it was... How many years ago was that, Ammar, now?
This is the 13th year, is what it is. Crazy.
I remember clearly. Yeah. Such a stressful time that was, but hey, with all...
Alhamdulillah, he's here. He's strong. This week he's been getting up with me early and training, which has been interesting. Yeah. Is what it is. So and he's a brilliant kid. I feel incredibly blessed. So it's nice and delighted to have such a significant school that has had a long-term relationship with the whole of the West End for such a long time. Dame Allan's. It's I know that certainly you and I, Jeff, have relations and relationships with many children and their parents who go to this school. It's an exceptionally good school. Anyway, we're going to hear not only from Amy and Rachel, we're also going to hear from some of the students about their endeavours as well. And it's great to get young people, sort of young adults coming on the show to talk about the why and the how and such like. Interesting time with politics. Obviously, we at Spice FM and our weekly radio show remains apolitical, but you cannot hide from what has gone on yesterday evening. Jaff, what do you think about that?
I've only caught up very little, but all I understand is Labour. I think that there seems to be a vote where people are just so sick of our politicians that it's is it like the rebellion against our political parties and voting reform because they're just so sick of the way that the country is being run, and they're showing that by just not backing the parties in power, I guess.
Yeah, I'd raised these concerns quite some time ago. The sad state of affairs is quite simply that the country's become incredibly divided, and that division is now manifesting into councils, politics, and we're possibly going to see a hung parliament in the next election, general election. Is not dissimilar to what's going on in the rest of the Europe, and it's a real shame. But in any event, yes, the people have voted. Whatever your views are, you've clearly done so for the right reasons or the wrong ones or whatever. Anyone will misinterpret it. But I think there was a bit of malaise or hesitancy in people actually even going out and voting because they are so despondent with the way things are. Let's say, I mean, it was a bit of a, you could say, shocking from a shock perspective result in Runcorn by-election where Reform won by 6 votes.
And Ammar, have they come out of nowhere in Runcorn? I'm presuming they have.
Well, I mean, it was interesting to see, listening to Nigel Farage this morning, but in essence, Runcorn has historically been a long-term Labour secure, one of their safe seats. And Reform have come and beat all of the other parties there by 6 votes. So, those 6 people that didn't turn up to the voting polls, or 7 people, that I've never come across such a close vote before. Yes, 30s, 40s, 50s, 6 to me. Is so the Labour candidate there clearly it'll be quite a bit of a kick. Anyway, regardless of that, Reform have won. People have voted. People have demonstrated that they appear to be, or alleged to be, unhappy with the way things are, and we're probably going to see that in various councils across the country where they were voting various people. I mean, interestingly, just very briefly, in Northumberland, voters across Northumberland headed to the polls to elect councillors for all 67 seats. It was the first county council in England to declare all its results after a buzzing overnight count, with Conservatives winning 26 seats, Jaff. Reform winning 23.
Wow.
Labour 8, Independent 7, Liberal Democrats 3, and Greens 2. So a bit of a hung parliament in that area, not parliament, but hung council. It's going to cause quite a bit of a challenge. Anyway, let's just move briefly on to the headlines. Duolingo to replace contract workers with AI in major shift to AI-first strategy. Duolingo is shifting to an AI-first strategy by gradually replacing contract content creators with AI tools. Interesting that that's happening. Headline number 2, business confidence hits highest levels since October budget as Trump delays tariffs. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that.
What did they say? Horse something, Ammar? I can't remember what they're saying. It's that's confidence in that the laws that you were thinking that you were going to hit. Oh, okay, we hit those laws. Oh, that's confidence for you.
Anyway, let's stop sharing. Our guests are here. Let's get them on the show. And let's welcome everybody live on SpiceFM. I'm hoping that we're going to see some people, but if we're not, I'm sure we'll be hearing from them. Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
And welcome Katie, Ian, Rachel, a very warm welcome to you all. I think we're just waiting for Amy to gate crash as well. Please don't swear. You're live on air. So thank you for coming on to the show. Well, we will do some introductions in a second or so, but you're all very welcome. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
Live here on our weekly show. I think that you'd tuned in to SpiceFM and we're dancing to the music, I think, is what you were when we were anticipating us to be live. So apologies about that technical issue, but I'm delighted to say it's been resolved for you coming on the show, and so it should be. Whilst we're waiting for Amy to join us, shall we kick off? Is that all right? Oh, here's Amy.
I'm here with the people. I'm letting them do the talking today, but thank you so much for having us on, and you're in very good hands.
Brilliant. Thank you. Right. Well, before we get to the stars of the show, Katie and Ian, Rachel, not that you're not a star, but let's briefly introduce who you are, what you do, and more critically, why do you do it?
So I'm Katie. I started off as the girls' charity rep for Dame Allan's earlier this year. I've been involved in Marie Curie over the past few years alongside my DAV. It started off as that, and then I kept on going with it. And yes, I'm really looking forward to see what I can do with the role and see what opportunities I can make for students through the school to get more involved in volunteering and fundraising.
Yeah, I started as charity rep at the start of this year as well. I find it a really rewarding role to be able to see the impact of the fundraisers that we set up, setting up fundraisers, organising things, sometimes collecting money for non-uniform days. I just find it really rewarding seeing the impact, hearing back from charities about what the money's been used for. It's just really well.
Brilliant. And one such charity, whilst there's lots of other worthy charities out there, but one such charity is Rachel's charity. So, Rachel, over to you.
Yeah, I'm Rachel Hardwick and I'm the fundraising and engagement manager at Tiny Lives, and I have the wonderful job of working with communities and organisations and schools like Dame Allan, who do such fantastic things for the neonatal babies and families we support. So it's an absolute honour to be here, so thank you for the invitation, and it's also nice to be able to kind of thank our supporters over the radio as well, so thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rachel. And we'll hear a little bit more about Tiny Lives and what you do and why you do it. Just to say, I think there's a little bit of feedback from your microphone, Rachel. I don't know if it was just me, but we'll see how we get on. But anyway, here we are. So this particular charity campaign and activity happened a couple of weeks ago, didn't it? As in, Katie, Ian, talk us through what that was and what did you do and how many pupils and children were involved in this activity?
So it originally started as an idea further down the school for a non-school uniform day. But following the Carabao Cup win, we have quite a few Newcastle supporters in the school. And so we decided to make it a black and white day, which I think really brought up the enthusiasm, and we ended up raising over £1,000 for the charity, which I think the school is very proud of, and we really appreciate the support from the pupils in that. So very happy.
So was there a real buzz around the day itself? And I mean, anything that's extraordinary or different, I don't doubt creates a bit of a buzz in a school where, especially if you can get away with not wearing a uniform, right?
Yeah, it was quite exciting because we do regularly have non-uniform days, but like the link between this and a lot of people like being Newcastle supporters, this was quite soon after the victory as well. So everyone was, already quite excited from that win. And then having a non-uniform day where you could wear your Newcastle tops as well, just sort of like added a bit extra.
Great, good. Jack, any non-uniform days for you back in the day? Or, I mean, obviously a couple of weeks ago for you. But
Do you know what? I think we used to have. Would the non-uniform date be on a Friday? Would that be a Friday afternoon, or has that changed?
I think ours was. It's on a Friday. I think ours was on Friday.
Yeah, I think we used to have a little something in our school on a Friday. But gosh, you've gone back many years ago.
yeah, I can't actually recall our school doing anything for charity. I know there was non-uniform days and you could donate things and such like, but it's yeah, I think that link between school education, young people, and charity is incredibly important, right? And to hear a little bit more of the importance of that, Rachel, tell us a little bit more about Tiny Lives, please. What is it? What does it do? Why do you do it? Where do you do it? And is there a link back into Dame Allan School as well?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, as Tiny Lives, we are the charity that supports the babies and families who spend time at the neonatal unit at Newcastle's RVI. There's around 800 babies a year will spend time there, and they're there either because they've been born very prematurely or very poorly. And as a charity, we will do everything we can to help ensure that that baby and that family has the best possible chance to thrive. So whether that be supporting a family with a parking permit so that they're not having to either restrict how long they're with their baby, or indeed not be able to afford to be with their baby at all. It could be supporting a mum with counselling because she's particularly struggling with the enormity of the trauma of what her and her baby have gone through. Or it could be supporting a sibling who's struggling to understand what's happening and the fact that they were meant to be getting a baby brother or sister and then they arrived early and now, it's a really difficult thing that they're having to deal with. Mum and dad are up at the hospital a lot and don't really understand why they can't hold their brother or sister because they're in the incubator. So we really do try to make sure that whether, like I say, it's supporting the baby or mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever it may be, we recognise that actually if we want to have this baby to have the best possible chance to thrive, we need to support the baby and their family. And the money raised by Dame Allan's really helps us do that. And it's so, people might not realise, and your listeners might not realise that 1 in 7 babies in the UK will spend time on a neonatal unit. So when you think of a student population at Dame Allan's, I'm not sure what that number is, but when they're sitting in their classrooms looking around the room, the reality is that 1 in 7 of those children would have spent time on a neonatal unit in the UK. So there's a huge amount of babies and families here in the Northeast going through it, and children who have experienced it, or indeed it might be that one of their classmates, their siblings was on a neonatal unit. And we just recognise that actually if these families are going to have the best possible chance to thrive, we need to do what we do as a charity to help them on that journey.
Brilliant. I certainly wasn't aware of the numbers 1 in 7, being on a neonatal unit. I mean, we have a personal relationship with Tiny Lives. Our son, sadly, but actually I say that in a positive way, had to experience, and we as parents had to experience that, but from a positive experience and reflection. He's a wonderful 13-year-old, he's going to be 13-year-old boy this year. So, and undoubtedly the support that's offered is quite significant. Coming back to Katie, what does it mean? Why did you put your hand up to become the charity lead?
I think I've always found that there are so many ways to help out, from actively being out there fundraising to working in a group, and any sort of help can make an impact. It's not something to be looked over. So I think I really wanted to encourage students, especially further down the school, to look into ways they can get into fundraising no matter what. And also, it's quite an experience for the person going out and doing charity work. You've got great personal connections. You can work with different groups of people. And I think that can also inspire you to look into further causes. That's certainly how it was for me with Marie Curie. And from that experience, I really wanted to get that into the student body.
Great. Well done. Ayan, why and what any I mean, obviously we're here talking about Tiny Lives, but there are various other charities and they all do amazing things. But what was your experience from a charitable perspective?
My experience was really great, fundraising, organising things, helping other students, especially lower down the school, sort of have awareness raised towards, local charities such as Tiny Lives, and also we've got the Percy Headley Trust they've supported as well, which is helping people with disabilities. It's just really great to let sort of like the next generation of people who like next year in coming years will end up as charity reps themselves and sort of supporting local charities in years to come.
And is it added responsibility? I suppose it's great from a CV perspective, right? As in, personally, I got involved with various charities. I was on the development board of Marie Curie, Katie, for quite some time as well. And you're absolutely right. It's a brilliant charity. It's sad that it's required, but it is a brilliant charity. And but there tends to be a bit of a personal connection with charities, doesn't there? For you to have to come across them and experience them. But in regards to that CV building, what's the value? What would you say to other people, not just younger people, but other people as adults and our listeners across the community who might be sat there going, you know what, I have a little bit of spare time, or I have some spare cash, and what should I do with it? And I suppose also from a religious perspective, there's a requirement from religions where there's an obligation to give. Just thinking that through to our listeners and our viewers, what advice would you give?
Probably.
Ayan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. Well, advice is, you can obviously raise awareness for your community, help other people later end up fundraising for themselves. I think it is a really rewarding thing to do. It does make you feel really good about yourself when you've helped other people,
Great. Katie?
So all the time I've spent at the charity shop, it's always improved my day. So it's obviously nice getting out in the community. I've always quite liked the hands-on work that I've been doing there, and seeing that in like a real-time impact with people. But probably just getting involved in any way possible. Obviously, as Ryan said, it has a very rewarding feeling. And also, if you just think about the work you're doing, helping out, it's always valuable for the people who are receiving that help. And I think it's something that definitely you can aspire to be. I aspire to be.
Brilliant. Thank you. Rachel, why Tiny Lives? Why there?
In terms of the community of listeners out there, it's no one's plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G to end up having a baby that needs neonatal care. But as I said earlier, 1 in 7 babies born in the UK will spend time on a neonatal unit. So I think it's that thing of you never know what's going to happen. It happens to a huge amount of babies and families, and really we want to ensure that every single family has the best possible chance to thrive. So by coming involved, it's you're raising awareness, but then also help and ensure that we can give that much needed help and support to those babies and families. It's a wonderful charity to be involved with, and we know we ultimately have that impact of help and ensure that these families thrive.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much. Jalf's got his hand in his pocket, obviously now.
We will certainly make contributions to Tiny Lives in the next in the next week or so, 100%.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you ever so much for coming on our radio show right here. Just to wrap up this part of our radio show, I mean, I'm hoping that you're all avid listeners to SpiceFM at some point in the day. It's very much a community show, radio station, and this is the business show of that. We do record this. It will go out across all of our wider, broader platforms. But if there was, one thing that you'd like to say, use this platform, please do so. I'll start with you, Rachel, if I may. Anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be going back to as this being the business platform, to get businesses to think about that 1 in 7 number, in that it's 1 in 7 babies. But if you have staff going off on paternity or maternity leave in a year, the reality is neonatal care may affect your employees. And actually, we run a neonatal awareness session from Tiny Lives for the business community to help better equip the workforce and the work scheme, so that when and if an employee does make that phone call to say, I can't come into work today because my baby has gone into neonatal care, that as an employer, you feel better equipped in that position because you have a heightened awareness of what that means for that baby and that family, ultimately your employee or your colleague. So I would just encourage anyone out there in the business community who isn't aware of neonatal care and does have a workforce who wants to better educate themselves, is basically to say Tiny Lives can help you with that and better prepare you and your business for that unexpected phone call.
No, thank you for that. And just very briefly before I invite Katie and Ian to say a few final words as well. The ABC's mission is very much around helping, our Northeast become the most inclusive region in the UK. And it's an open invitation to everyone here, as well as the school and you, Rachel, we have an inclusion by default conference, right? And the ambition around it is to help improve the health, the wealth, and the happiness of the region. And I think charities undoubtedly play such a critical role in that, but so do charity reps within schools and schools themselves. So it's an open invitation to our Inclusion by Default conference. You're very, very welcome. Come and see what's going on, see how you can contribute. It is about a conversation and supporting. So that offer of education is key. So understanding how you get that support is incredibly beneficial. So thank you for offering that, Rachel. Ian, what would you like to say? And feel free to say anything to anyone. There's lots of people listening and tuning in as well. So do that.
But yeah, for any listeners, I'd like to say just try and get involved. Start small, maybe set recurring donations to a local charity or a charity you really support, have a personal connection to. Then from there, you can move into more like volunteering, taking up your time, like help other people, and just starting small and building up from that is just really useful. If everyone sets up, small donations over time, that adds up a lot. So that would help a lot.
Brilliant. Thank you. Katie?
Yeah, like Ian said, getting out there, looking in your local community or wider projects. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be huge. I think all help will always be valued, and you never know if there's a time when you might appreciate that help, knowing that support is out there. I think yeah, it's always good knowing that there's somewhere you can go, and if you've helped out with that, then it just provides a good sense of confidence that you can be in good hands with charities, and knowing they're there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much. We'll share the link with you. We'll do some tagging if you're on any socials and things like that. And we'll do some promotion around it. So Rachel, Katie, Ayan, and Amy in the background as well. Thank you ever so much for joining us this morning. You've been listening to Ammar and
Jalf
live on our weekly radio show. Thank you, and we're going to continue with our show. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. And that was wonderful to have the students and everyone else on the radio show is what it is. And I think it's great to be able to showcase local charities and things like that, isn't it, Jeff?
I think, Ammar, you need to take your hat off to whoever's taking those initiatives and whoever's thought of the idea of partnering schools and charities together, especially at such a young age. So if you imagine, you know, you leave in school and you have that particular mindset, you have that empathy towards others, wanting to help, and the society probably needs that now more than any ever before. And if Dame Allan and Lives have partnered together, which is going to be a huge benefit to wider society, then you have to really take your hat off to those that have made that partnership materialize.
Oh, it's brilliant! It's brilliant, and I'm smirking a little bit because it was in the back of a car coming back from Wembley.
Okay.
When I was sat with, and I'm sure he'll not mind me mentioning his name, but Mr. Ridley, who's head of the senior school, and transporting back, and we had a conversation. So thank you, Mr. Ridley. Well done on joining the dots and the whole of Dame Allan School. You're absolutely right, Jaff. You know, the connections with charities, encouraging, enabling, empowering young people to realize the value of empathy and giving is such a beautiful trait. It's such a beautiful trait. So, you know, thank you for coming on the show. And as a community radio station, SpiceFM is absolutely committed to raising the profile of as many community groups, be them schools, be them charities, be them various groups and entities. You know, it is your radio station, and it's the world radio station in Tyne and Wear. And gosh, I was just talking to someone. We've been doing this show forever, and it still surprises me that there's people out there that aren't tuned in. You know, when I go, I do a radio show on a Friday morning, you go, do you? And I go, that's the wrong answer, isn't it? It should be, yeah, we tune in and listen to you and Jaff every Friday is what we do. Anyway, and talking about the inclusion by default, the reason why I was mentioning it, Jaff, in a couple of weeks' time, there is the inclusion by default conference taking place on the 14th of May at Kingston Park, where we're going to see over 100 people coming together, you know, and helping co-create, review what's going on. So 50,000 plus people surveyed, and we're going to help co-create the roadmap for what's happening next. And it's incredibly exciting, is what it is. Coming back to broader, wider news and football, Jaff. Good result on the weekend?
Yes, brilliant result. Another good result for us last night as well, because Nottingham Forest, who were challenging for the top 5 spaces, they lost at home to Brentford. So they didn't overtake us. So we're handsomely in 3rd position. But Man City play Wolves, and then there's Villa plays tomorrow, and then we play Brighton away on Sunday, and that's going to be a tough game. But I've got a feeling that we're going to go there and we're going to get a win because we're in such good form. Eddie's back. I think Joe Linton is injured, going to miss the game. But overall, though, I think that the team is fit, and we've got only 4 games left, and I think the players understand the magnitude of getting into the Champions League.
Yeah, I think we need it, and you're absolutely right. Coming back on to the business topic of the week, Jamie's done another cracking job of finding some top tips and advice, although it might not be the topic or subject that we really want to hear or dwell upon. But key tax year changes from the 6th of April, Jaff. National minimum wage and living wage increases. So national living wage increased by 16.7%. So you need to consider this. You need to consider, are you paying the right wages? Because non-compliance fines of up to 200% of unpaid wages is what employers may actually experience. Employers' national insurance contributions, so the rate's gone up from 13.8% to 15%, and the thresholds come down from 9,100 to 5,000. However, the employment allowance has increased slightly, SMEs. So do make sure that you're claiming the employment allowance. Self-employed national insurance contribution reform. So class 2 national insurance contributions have been abolished, and there's no change to benefits access for profits over 12,570. So check your national insurance contributions record. Dividend allowance, tax-free dividend allowance halved from a meager 1,000 to a paltry £500. So you need to review your income strategies with a financial advisor. VAT threshold frozen, still at £85,000. Inflation may push more SMEs into registration. So watch that. Make sure that you're preparing accounting systems in advance and making tax digital. So applies to sole trade landlords earning £50,000 plus from April 2026. So you need to consider early adoption of digital tools, Xero, QuickBooks, Free Agent, KPM recommended. There's a whole host of others. How the SMEs can adapt, review your pricing models, consider outsourcing or freelancers, explore salary sacrifice schemes, update financial forecasts, seek tailored support and planning advice. And clearly, the SME Centre of Excellence is best placed for all of your advice, support and guidance, including accountancy and everything in between. So do reach out to the team that provide the right support at the right time for you. Inclusion by default, we had a fantastic curry club. Lots of people came to the International Space Station at Airview. It was really, really vibrant, brilliant location, and we've got the Inclusion by Default conference that I have just mentioned. Other things going on, 2 bank holidays coming up, Jaff. Do you anticipate to be busy as a consequence?
It can be hit and miss here, but it is a magic weekend, isn't it? This weekend. So there should be an influx of big numbers into the city. It's usually busy, but last one wasn't because there was a lot of people that left the city and there wasn't an equal number of people coming into the city. So I think we have to see. Usually the Friday and the Saturday is a bit quieter, but you make up for it on a Sunday and a Monday. So I think we will see how the weekend goes. I think the weather's nice as well, which is always a good thing.
It certainly is. It certainly is. Anyway, I think we're coming up to the end of our show. Apologies about that technical hitch. But we were delighted to have our guests live on air. You've been listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
live right here on Spice FM. We'll be back next week with some more news, views, and one or two clues. And in the meantime, please do register for the Inclusion by Default conference. If you've got the ABC Awards, we're open for nominations. Get your tickets. Believe it or not, Jalf, it's actually, I think a lot of the tables, a lot of the tickets have already gone this year because it's such a significant event. We'll be back. Until next week, goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.